Now we have made it to the cash cycle. We are going to blow through this one and become experts at the cash cycle. We've obviously seen a lot of moving parts with the cash cycle that intertwined with the other two cycles, but here we're really going to dive deep into it. Let's start off. Well, what component are we dealing with? It's really just the cash receipts and disbursements, cash in and the cash out. We are going to deal with, as we've seen before, assertions related to the account balance, which is balance sheet, transactions, income statement, and presentation and disclosure. Dealing with completeness, we want to send confirmations similar to accounts receivable. As I mentioned, we are going to send out these confirmations to the banks, make sure we understand how much cash is in the account and make sure it's complete. We're not going to worry about cutoff when it comes to account balance, but you see here the difference. We worry about cutoff as it relates to transactions, as it relates to transactional assertions. To confirm the valuation, allocation, and accuracy, we're going to send out confirmations as well. An interesting point here, we're not really worried about, so valuation, allocation, and accuracy, for sure accuracy. However, valuation, cash is cash. Unless you're dealing with foreign currency, if you're dealing with only US dollars, the price of the US dollar is going to fluctuate, like inventory would or AR would. So you're not really worried about that. You're more so worried about the accuracy of the dollar amount, as well as making sure that the cash is allocated properly to possible different general ledger accounts. So like we said here, we're kind of worried about those. Then we are going to do confirmations. Really, confirmations is the number one way to test cash, as we see here. We want to make sure we confirm the existence of. Moving on to transactions. Well, here we can trace remittance advices to cash receipts journal and deposit slips. You should have a remittance advice for every cash receipt because when you open the envelope, right, you get a check or you get cash, and that should have remittance advice. So you should have a remittance listing that ties to all the cash receipts and deposit slips. That's a great check there. We can also trace the canceled checks to the cash disbursement journal. Once we pay someone, right, with a check, we are going to be able to confirm that checklist with the cash disbursements journal. That's going to be what we paid out. When we're worried about cutoff, we're going to compare dates on the bank statement with recorded dates. Essentially, just a lot of what we can deal with here. It's the cash reconciliation, book to bank. Any of these terms sound familiar, right? This is the cash reconciliation process. For valuation, allocation, and accuracy, we can foot remittance advices and agree deposit slips in the bank statement, just checking all of these pieces of documentation together. We can agree the voucher package with the purchase order, receiving report, invoice, cancel check, and disbursement journals. These, again, it's kind of similar to the AP process. Any pieces of documentation that should have the same number, you're going to compare them. For existence and occurrence, we are going to vouch the cash receipts to remittance advices, to deposit slips and the bank statement. We are also going to vouch the disbursement journal to the voucher packages, canceled checks, and the bank statement. All of these should equal up and add up to each other. Lastly here, for understandability and classification, we want to examine sample remittance advices and canceled checks for proper classification. Make sure they're in the correct accounts. For presentation and disclosure over here, we want to ensure that all disclosures are included. We're reading the footnotes, making sure that there are proper explanations for how we treat cash and cash equivalents. We want to compare to audit evidence to determine occurrence for the cash account. And then lastly, just read disclosures. Right here, this one's kind of just make sure it all makes sense.
Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.